Hello class 9, welcome to your geography class. Today we will start a new chapter, that is earthquake. So first let us try to understand what is earthquake. So I think all of us have experienced earthquake at least once in our life. So we know that it is actually a sudden tremor or a vibration that is felt on the surface of the earth. Okay, so actually what happens, the energy which is present inside the earth, when due to some reason, obviously we will learn those reasons afterwards. So when the earth is releasing the energy present inside it, then we can feel the earthquake. So the energy is released by the earth in the form of seismic waves. Okay. Now, a few important terms related to earthquake. One is focus, another one is the epicenter. So what is focus? The point from which the earth is releasing its seismic waves, that is known as the focus of the earthquake. And the point which is directly above the focus on the surface of the earth, that is known as the epicenter. Okay, usually the magnitude of earthquake, or rather usually the intensity of earthquake, is felt maximum at the epicenter. Okay, now as we are saying that the earth is releasing seismic waves, or the earth is releasing seismic energy during the time of an earthquake, so we have to know in details about these seismic waves. So actually earthquake waves, we can categorize earthquake waves into three, we can classify earthquake waves into three categories. The first one is known as P waves, or the primary waves. It is the fastest amongst all the three. That is, it can travel at a speed of 8 km per second. So we can easily understand how fast it is, and it can pass through solid and liquid both. That is why this P wave can pass through the crust, the mantle and the core. Now, next to the P wave, there is another earthquake wave which is known as the S wave, or the secondary wave. The speed of this wave is much less than the P wave. That is, it can travel at a speed of 4 km per second. But this S wave can usually pass through solid only. That is why it can pass through the crust, but little bit or partially through the mantle, but it cannot pass through the core. It is refracted from the core. Now, the last one is the L wave, or the long wave, which is also known as the surface wave. The speed of L wave is half of the speed of the primary wave. That is, it is even less than half. It is only 3 km per second. And just like the P wave, this L wave can also pass through the crust, the mantle and the core. Okay. Now, we have to know the major causes of earthquake. So, whenever in any part of the earth earthquake is occurring, there must be some reason behind it. So, one by one, we will try to understand these reasons. The first cause, or the first reason behind earthquake, is folding and faulting. Now, what is the meaning of folding and faulting? It is nothing but these are some mountain building processes. When we will learn the landforms of the earth, we will know the different types of mountains, and there we will also know that there are some kind of mountain known as the fold mountain, and there is another category known as fault mountain. So when these kind of mountains are emerging on the earth, or during the time of these mountain building processes, that is the processes of fold mountain building and the processes involved in fault mountain building, earthquake can be felt in the nearby areas. Now the next thing that is very important, that is volcanic eruption. Why am I saying that volcanic eruption is very important in case of earthquake? Because earthquake and volcanic eruption, both of them are natural calamities, and these two natural incidents are very much interlinked. In very simple term, we can say that volcanic eruption and earthquake, these two are actually either sides of the same coin, because sometimes due to volcanic eruption, earthquake may be felt in an area or in the nearby area, or sometimes due to earthquake, volcanic eruption may occur in an area. Okay. Next thing is landslide. So what is landslide? I hope all of you understands. It usually happens in the hilly areas. Okay. And maybe due to heavy rainfall, landslide may occur in the hilly areas. So when beside the hills, big boulders are coming down, so at that time earthquake vibration may be felt. Now the last one, which is known as plate tectonics, this is something new to you people, so please listen to me very carefully. Okay, we all know that our earth is made up of three layers. The uppermost layer is known as the crust, followed by mantle, and the innermost part is known as the core. So this crust portion, which is also known as lithosphere, that is the other name of the crust. Likewise, all of us are having two names or even more than that. Similarly, the crust of the earth has also got two names. One is the crust, which is also known as lithosphere. So this lithosphere is made up of very thin, some are big and some are small. So the lithosphere is made up of thin plate-like structures. Okay. So these plates can move. Sometimes these plates are moving towards each other, sometimes they are moving apart from each other, and sometimes they are just slide pass off. Okay. So when these plates are moving, though this movement is very slow, but still when these plates are moving, maybe they are moving, two plates are moving towards each other, or two plates are moving apart from each other in opposite direction, or they are just sliding off each other. So whatever the kind of movement is, when two plates are moving in that particular place of the earth, earthquake vibration may be produced. So these four are the major causes of earthquake. Okay. Now we will move on to the next portion or next section of the chapter. Now we have to know the effects of an earthquake. Okay. So the effects are, first of all, we can classify the effects into two categories. One, destructive effect, another one, constructive effect. We only think as earthquake is a natural calamity, we have a notion that it has got only destructive effect. But surprisingly, it has also got some constructive effects as well. So first, let us learn about the destructive effects which are more common to us or more known to us. So the first thing that we can say, that is loss of property. Obviously, during an earthquake, different buildings may collapse, trees may uproot, electric poles may get uprooted. So it causes, roads may develop deep cracks. So obviously it is a loss of property. Next is loss of life. So because of an earthquake, there is loss of human life and other animals also. So there is loss of life. Next thing that we can say, that is, because of an earthquake, sometimes a river may change its path or may change its course. The path which the river was following previously, that is, the path through which the river was flowing, because of an earthquake, the river has changed its path or the river has changed its direction, and now the river is flowing through another path. So obviously, the new path through which the river is flowing, maybe over there a village was there. So the river may cause flood and the river may cause huge loss of life and property due to earthquake. Okay. Let me give you an example. I hope all of you have heard the name of river Brahmaputra, which is present in Assam, one of the states of India. So this river Brahmaputra have changed its course many a time, leading to violent floods in Assam or devastating floods in Assam. Okay. Now the next destructive effect of an earthquake is the occurrence of tsunamis. This is also very much known to us. That is, whenever earthquake waves are generated within the sea, it is causing havoc, destruction in the coastal areas, wiping out almost everything from the coastal areas. So that is known as a tsunami. Next thing, due to earthquake, landslide may also occur. So we can say that landslide can be the cause of earthquake and landslide may also cause due to an earthquake. Okay. So there are few more as well, but these are the prominent ones that I have discussed over here. Now let us come to the constructive effects of an earthquake. So during an earthquake, it may happen that the coastal area has emerged. Okay. Certain portion of the coastal area which was inside the sea or under the sea, now because of an earthquake, that area has emerged. Now people can grow crops over there, people can make their settlements over there. So that is, human beings can utilize that land for different purposes. Okay. Now the next thing that we can say, that is creation of hot springs or geysers. Hot springs, we know that the springs which are releasing hot water, those are hot springs. Geysers are also like hot springs, but actually the water of geysers usually have some medicinal properties, which is good for skin ailment, or if a person has got some sort of skin problem, so the water of geyser is good for that person. Or it is also good for joint problem. Usually elderly people have got joint problem, so the water of geyser has got medicines or different kind of minerals mixed with it, which are acting as medicines. So that is why it has got medicinal properties. Next thing that we can say, that due to an earthquake, a bay or a gulf can be formed. So we know about a bay, that is our Bay of Bengal. So it is one example. All over the world, many bays are present. So earthquake can create a bay or a gulf, which are very good for fishing or trading through sea. Okay. Now, if up to this much, I hope there is no problem. Now the next thing that we have to know, that is prediction of earthquake. Okay. See children, since ancient time, human beings and rather scientists, they have followed different methods to forecast or to predict earthquake. Okay, but despite of considerable efforts by the seismologists, accurate prediction of earthquake, that is a specific day or a specific month, cannot be predicted yet. Okay, that is, it can be predicted that in that part of the earth an earthquake may happen, okay, within a month or within 2 months, but one cannot say that on which day or which date or on which month actually it will happen. Okay, so next thing, that is we have to know about the Richter scale and the Mercalli scale. What are these things? Whenever an earthquake happens, we get to know the magnitude of the earthquake. So what is the magnitude? The intensity of the earthquake, how intense it was, whether it was very severe or it was a medium kind of earthquake or it was a mild kind of earthquake. This intensity is measured and it is expressed as the magnitude of earthquake. So this intensity of earthquake, that how severe the earthquake was, whether it was severe or it was mild or it was medium, whatever kind of earthquake it was, it is actually measured with the help of two scales. One is the Richter scale, which ranges from 0 to 9. Another one is the Mercalli scale, which ranges from Roman 1 to Roman 12. Usually, among these two scales, the Richter scale is more commonly used, and according to the Richter scale, if the magnitude of any earthquake is 6 or more than 6, it is considered to be a severe earthquake. Okay, in case of Mercalli scale, if the intensity of any earthquake is 8, Roman 8 or more than that, then only it is considered to be a severe earthquake. But again I am telling this, that within these two scales, the Richter scale is more commonly used. Now the next thing that we have to know, that is the worldwide distribution of earthquake belt. So regarding this, we will get two names. One is the Circum-Pacific belt, another one is the Mid-World Mountain belt. Obviously, the Circum-Pacific belt is more important. It is found in the Pacific Ocean, around the coastal areas of Pacific Ocean, and in the entire world, whatever earthquake happens, 68% of earthquake happens within this belt. This is a very active earthquake belt. Okay, as because it is more or less circular, this region is more or less circular in shape and it is found in the Pacific Ocean, so it is known as Circum-Pacific belt. Now the next one, which is known as the Mid-World Mountain belt, it is starting from the Alps mountain range in Europe and passing through that region. It is actually passing through Turkey, Iraq, Iran, Tibet, China, all these places, and within the whole world, whatever amount of earthquake is happening, 31% is happening within this area, that is within the Mid-World Mountain belt. So here we are ending our class today, our chapter earthquake. I will suggest you people, please go through your textbook properly, and if you have any problem, please let me know. I will obviously try to clarify your doubts, or else Prepare yourself properly and wait for the next class. Stay safe, stay home. Thank you.